actual play edge to Tyson this, but it's going to be close and it could certainly go either way. I'm a little bit surprised that Tyson didn't ban Mage, actually, after seeing this and given his lineup. But, that maybe just one of those things where he's like, Mage is inconsistent enough that I feel like I can beat it. I don't think he's... I would be hard-pressed to see him lead with Rogue or with Handlock here. Unless his Rogue is just the all-out aggro Rogue, of course. Then it wouldn't surprise me to see him lead with it.
I think his Shaman's a good feeler as well. It can be good against everything, and has chances to win against all kinds of the decks that Darkwonyx has. But Darkwonyx has also been very surprising. A lot of people keep writing him off. So let's go ahead and jump into the first game between these two guys and find out what's going to happen. As this is the winners round number 2. A win here means you're guaranteed top 3, which makes it that much easier to climb through the top 8 and all the way to the finals where you can get a spot to play in China for $62,000. It's going to be Mage versus Shaman to start things off. Darkwonyx is going to be on the Mage. And it looks like it's going to be more of the traditional freeze, but he might surprise us with Giants as well.
Yeah, this is something that I didn't mention, is that the Shaman matchup versus Mage also isn't very strong. It's probably the strongest of your 3 because you could deal with Doomsayer and then continue to pressure the board from there. It's like if Doomsayer is the only way they can wipe the board, a Silence or a Hex can really put a damper in that plan. But overall, I think I give the edge to Freeze Mage in this matchup. But with this kind of hand, it could be a different story. And now, this is a really interesting draw with this Blood Mage. I actually would Blood Mage here, and the purpose of this Blood Mage is to try to bait out an Earthshock so you can land this Doomsayer a lot easier. So it's a really, really interesting draw. You don't want to ping. Like, pinging is just, it feels pointless to me right now. Like, you already have Archmage in your hand, so the extra damage is likely not going to matter that much. And you have 2 Flame Strikes, so the only thing you need to do is kind of get to a point where you can get a lot of value from your Flame Strikes and then follow up later. Like, you have both of them in your hand right now, so you need to find a way to look forward to using them. But the other thing that Blood Mage does here is if your opponent doesn't kill it, it threatens the totem outright, because then you can just attack the totem and ping it. So it's accomplishing 2 things at once. And I think the ping here is a little bit oversighted.
But, I mean, if you can kind of even take it down the line of thought and thinking why he saves it specifically.
He's saving...
Thanos also... What's up?
Yeah, he wants to save it just for the Frostbolt, basically. That's the only other reason you'd want to save it.
Well, for the value of being able to have the spell power. Right. And also, like, late game, if he kind of just keeps holding on to it and he chooses to do it, Thanos has a lot of burst potential. And even if you don't have Alexstrasza, but you have straight up burn.
This is a really heavy...
But he picks up Alexstrasza, which is really nice.
This is a really heavy hand from Darkwonyx. This is going to be a tough game. I say this is a favorable matchup, but I think he's gonna have to try to save this coin for turn 6 Flame Strike. I like the Doomsayer here a lot too, but Tyson's got the perfect answer.
Right, he's got the Earthshock. I think based off that 2 plays that you suggested, I think it would have been really good. But also, if he Earthshocked, he wouldn't have been able to pick up value of killing off the Unbound. Right, he would have had to play Earthshock and then Totem, and then the Doomsayer plays a lot weaker in that respect. So based off that, I think. Either way, I think he wouldn't have picked up good value from this Doomsayer.
Yeah, I agree. This is about the best you're going to get from it. But this is a strong turn from Tice. Look at this. I'm curious actually if he's going to play the Wolves or if he's going to play the Flametongue Totem. I don't mind the Flametongue Totem here at all. The Wolves, of course, is getting strong value now because you want to get these in before your opponent can Flame Strike you. And at the same time, you're also getting an extra point of damage out of it. So I think that long term, this is probably a better investment.
Yeah, I think so. Especially if his opponent ends up playing any other creatures as well. It gives him more opportunities to trade him while pushing in for damage.
Right.
Darkwonyx plays the Arcane Intellect, and he gets a Mana Worm and Cold Light, 2 cards that you don't always see in the traditional Freeze Mage. Do you have any opinions on these cards being included into the Mage?
I'm a little curious about why. If he's got something like Cold Light Oracle, to me, that says that he's more likely to be playing Giants, but when he's playing the Archmage, I feel like it's less likely he's playing Giants.
Yeah. It makes sense with Archmage and Mana Worm because you have things like Mirror Image, Arcane Missiles to potentially give buffs to the Mana Worm as well as give the extra Fireball spells to the Archmage, but it's kind of curious to have the Cold Light Oracle.
Another question here is he going to attack this Mana Worm or is he just going to ignore it? Like I actually don't even mind ignoring it that much.
How much mana does he have on the following turn? Is he going to be having 6 mana or 5 mana?
He's going to have 6 next turn because he's not going to Lightning Bolt this turn. Whoa!
But then are you afraid of things like Blizzard and then being able to buff it up and then starting to pick up good trades?
I don't know. I don't think you are. Like, I feel like if your opponent has Blizzard, it's already good enough for them. So like the only thing it's really going to do is it's picking off an extra 2/3.
But if he also has 6 mana, doesn't he have Coin, Flame Strike? If you've been paying close attention, he could have the mana to do it.
Oh, you meant as Darkwonyx is going to 5 mana.
Yeah, okay. I was asking if he's going to 5 or 6 mana.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I thought you meant for overload purposes. Miscommunications.
Oh, okay.
The debate he's having right now is if he wants to use a wolf to attack this, or if he wants to use the Unbound to attack it. And I like this play. I actually just pushing for damage here because the Mana Worm, it's just not doing anything right now. Like if it picks off the totem, you don't really care. You still get the same amount of damage off of it. If he picks off one of the wolves, it's kind of inconsequential. You've basically done the same job as you would have done by attacking it, except you've gotten an extra points of damage this way.
I'm trying to think if there's actual like lethal next turn, but I think he'd just be 1 short.
5, 9.
With the lightning
11.
bolt with the Azure Drake, right?
It's got 11 plus 3, 14 plus 2 more from the Defender of Argus.
That's right. So he would have it then.
3, 4, 5. Oh, he gets 1 extra from the lightning bolt too. So he's got the lightning bolt's 4 because of the Unbound elementals. It's 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Oh my gosh, he does have lethal.
Well, lethal, assuming the Ice Block doesn't go up. And assuming Darkwonyx doesn't do anything to potentially like buff it up and kill off this taunt totem. No, it doesn't make sense. The 2 damage still stays. So he has to kill the far right Feral Spirit here.
Oh my gosh.
Well, he plays a Novice. He's going to pop it then next turn.
Wow.
He's not going to be able to do anything about this. Even if he kills off this taunt totem, it's just going to transfer over to the power of the Unbound anyways. And Darkwonyx is looking to have his Ice Block proc this early without being able to have a contingency plan.
Oh my gosh.
He can Flame Strike the following turn, but he might just die.
Yeah, I think
so he has 5, 9, 11.
Yeah, if you play Defender and Lightning Bolt, this is the block is popped this turn.
That's lethal right there.
Yeah. Wow. So now at this point, if that's what he wants to do, what he's thinking about is how he puts his opponent at 1 life after he does this full sequence. So he's got to attack in the right order as well. Because if you pop the block when he's at 5, like and you have 5 points of damage pointed at it, what ends up happening instead is that he stays at 5 life. So he wants to get extra damage.
Well, you just attack with the highest values first, and then try to get him as low as possible. And at this stage, the 1 or 2 life doesn't actually matter because of the Azure, not the Azure Drake, the Fire Elemental being able to pop it. But now Darkwonyx is in a lot of trouble.
This is a really bad shape to be in. He doesn't have a heal in his deck.
He has no way to actually survive next turn unless he picks up an Ice Block.
And this is the inconsistencies of this Mage deck that I think that RDE was kind of relying on, was that his opponent would just stumble and have big cost cards in his hand, exactly like he does, and then push for the win afterwards. So this is just game over. I don't think the Darkwonyx can get out of this.
I mean, he can clear board, but then he just dies straight up to, well, the Fire Elemental to the face.
Yep. Good old 3 with the 6 mana, 6/5.
You know, the Curse guys have actually played this, because Savitz and Darkwonyx have both played this, and I wonder how much they practiced it, because they both also played Giants. And I wonder what they were specifically bringing this matchup for, to try to specifically snipe something, but it seems it hasn't really worked out for them whenever they showed it up.
It's got a pretty strong matchup versus Rogue, typically, and it's also got a pretty strong matchup versus Handlock, and it happens to be pretty good versus Shaman if you don't draw all of your 7 and 8 and 9 cost cards right off the bat. I mean, he hasn't really been able to do anything this game, and his opponent had a silence for the Doomsayer, which is one of those spots he was in. I think that this is probably his best course of action, but there's just really not much you could do at this point when your opponent pops your block on turn when you're going into your turn 6. That's not typically what you expect, and that's just going to do it. RDU is going to take. I'm sorry, Tice is going to take game 1 with this Fire Elemental, and now Darkwonyx doesn't have his Freeze Mage for Miracle Rogue or for the Handlock.
To save that as his 3rd deck, and I think in this response you probably pick the Miracle Rogue, which I'm almost convinced the more I think about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think either one's a reasonable choice. I probably would go with Miracle Rogue. I'm okay with Hunter as well. Hunter.
Let's find out what happens in this next game then, because I think the hands are ready, and it is going to be the Miracle Rogue. He has the coin, which is really nice to start off, and he's thinking about keeping this Azure Drake as well, which is a nice drop to kind of respond and get things going in general. Drake is actually one of those things that it's really up to the players and how they really like to play Miracle Rogue.
That's really
keeps it concealed. Though.
Yeah, that's really weird to me. Which shows how much he values the ability to actually get Gadgets and Auctioneer and then conceal it. I mean, it's obviously his single conceal, if that's what he's doing. There's no reason to keep conceal if you have 2 of them in the deck, I don't think.
For sure.
And it's showing how much he puts value right on gadgets and auctioneer. And 1/1 totem is not the one you want to make, by the way. Like if there's this feels like this happens to me every time I play shaman. By the way, is when I make the totem, it's always the 1/1. And I'm just like, dang it! Why can't they just make? Why can't they make the healing totem or the taunt totem, or even the spell power totem?
Just anything but the searing totem, please. Please, Blizzard.
Yep.
So Dice does have this Feral Spirits, which again just puts a pretty big wrench into things. But I think with the coin, I mean, he could pretty much take care of this. It's just kind of annoying for Darkwonyx to deal with.
Another backstab. Do you Blood Mage here?
It's a good value for the backstab, but you also have the Deadly Poison to kind of deal with it effectively, card for card. And then you can have the backstab for something like bigger fish.
He's actually just going to save everything. I like this.
So Tice, he picks up an Azure Drake immediately. Not really that explosive of a start, but Feral Spirits are really effective early on too. So it's not like saving it is that much better because he's going to be able to, like, the longer you hold on to Feral Spirits, the harder it is to fit it in within the curve, especially as you pick up really powerful cards like your Fire Elementals. So the longer he waits, it would have been harder to do. So I think that's what you have to do. And then Tice now has an interesting decision to play the Argent Squire or to Totem, which I don't know too much about the in-depths about that debate. Can you share some insight into that?
I think toteming here is better. And the reason I think it is because next turn he can play the Violet Teacher and the Argent Squire. And this way he's foregoing a totem for a point of damage. And I'm not sure that's worth it.
You don't think he's going to play the Drake next turn?
I think he can play the Drake too, but I think the Violet Teacher is a better threat. Like you still get an extra totem this way.
That's true.
I'm not sure.
But the Argent Squire also loses a lot of its potency as like time goes on as well. Like the more Miracle Rogue draws cards, the more likelihood they pick into things like Van of Knives and Shiv, and then all of a sudden it's just this useless 1/1 that kind of just fits the curve because it's convenient.
This is a tough turn too. Like, how do you handle all this? Are you just like attacking the wolf and then dagger passing?
I suppose, and you do have the mana to throw down the Thalnos if you'd like.
Yeah, that's going to come back to bite him, by the way, because this is going to find Violet Teacher and Urshock.
Oof. Okay, well, he's going to use one of his backstabs instead and save his Deadly Poison charge.
Huh.
So at least he gets immediate value off the Thalnos with the extra spell power.
Right.
But yeah, that Urshock's going to be devastating to this Thalnos and just denying the draw. Even though your opponent's holding 6, you know it's just nice to kind of stall out the Miracle Rogue as much as possible.
This is a lot of pressure that's being put on now, too. You're going to have to see this Violet Teacher get cleared somehow. I imagine he's going to be using Backstab. And then it's going to follow up with a Fire Elemental. Oh, wow!
Oh, okay.
That's a bingo! This is a big turn all of a sudden. I mean, this game just completely took a big turn.
Wow.
This is coin.
Opened up like crazy.
Yeah, this is coin into conceal, into backstab, into prep, into sap. He's just going to draw 5 cards this turn. And have a stealth auctioneer.
All right, well, let's see what he's going to be able to chain off. Maybe he doesn't have to use all those things, and he has better ways to alternatively use his mana.
Well, I think
you feel like you backstab before or after the prep.
I think you backstab before. But I can see him backstabbing after as well. It's like you wanted to use preparation and sap this turn though, because one of the only ways that you actually get blown out of this game now is if your opponent has spell power into Lightning Storm. So if that happens and you're stranded with the preparation in your hand, you're really gonna hate the fact that you didn't use it.
Yeah, and you're not digging through anything closer through your deck, so I think that makes sense.
Oh my god!
All right, well he gets second sap, and he has the option to kind of like keep this guy just in and use that backstab as a way to start the SI7 for next turn as well. So he's going to hold on to it.
This is a tough turn. None of these plays feel very strong right now. Because even if you Fire Elemental this face, he just gets a free chance to try to pick it off. Like if your opponent has backstab into Blade Flurry.
Yeah, or Eviscerate, or something like that equivalent to be able to pick it off. Phantom Knives, Eviscerate.
Wow, this is a brutal turn.
Everything else just feels so weak. Like it doesn't really develop. Like everything develops the board at just around the same strength level.
Yep.
So at this point, you kind of like decide if you're Tice, what's the best outcome possible from or actually even maybe what's the worst outcome possible, and I think you kind of just like gauge it. So I think the Azure Drake basically says that he just wants to dig for more answers.
Yep.
See if he can respond to his opponent.
Wow, if he draws a Doomhammer, that's 16 damage, and I keep Doomhammer every single time.
Yeah, that's one of the ways you can race the Miracle Rogue as a Shaman.
Yeah, it's a card that you can keep in your opening hand against Miracle Rogue, is because it's 16 points of damage for 5 mana, or for 5 mana and then 2 the following turn. These Weblords are going to prevent the Fire Elemental from being played too, if he manages to get those out.
Oh my God, you're right. That Battle Cry, you forget about it. Like all these cards that have Battle Cry are affected by it.
He's just going to go for face this turn, I think, though. Like I think you're going to see SI7 Agent on the Drake, and then a Cold Blood here. Yep. Oh.
Ooh.
I think he's going to get invested into a Van Cleef instead, and pay 4 points of damage.
That is really tempting.
But if he pays 4 points of life, it's going to kind of open him up to
like a Doomhammer play, right?
This
is just potentially just lose.
Yeah, this is the turn I think you play Edwin, though, is because now your opponent has to deal with Guidance and Auctioneer and the big Edwin.
Mm-hmm. They have to have double responses to it, Hex and like. But well,
this
he's might have to use his Rock Biter to kill off the Guidance, but sure.
This is like one of those spots where you have multiple threats on the board, and this is where decks like Shaman will struggle. Is because he has to deal with both of them, and it's so hard for him to deal with both of them. You know, this is also one of those spots where that shield now is making actually kind of a big difference. Like having the 1/1 instead of having the totem out.
Yeah, that is true. Those many turns ago. Oh, he picks up the Lava Burst as well, which gives him some flexibility.
You're going to have to take 8 damage here, I think.
Like
either way, you have to take 8 damage, right?
Yeah, it's true.
That's brutal. And then your opponent's still got a full hand.
It's really, really tough just because he's a couple mana short from being able to do some really cool stuff, too.
The difference between a Lightning Bolt and a Rock Biter really rearing its head here.
I mean, if you're Tice, I guess he feels like he just plays anything. If he's only going to be taking out one target, there's no point in trying to using a spell.
Yep. Even if he's going to take 8 damage by responding to this Van Cleef the next turn, he's still taking 8 damage.
Yeah.
But I think this is a reasonable line of play. I think you have to get something developed. Another Auctioneer! I don't even think he needs that right now.
No, he's got so many cards.
Look at his
I think he just wants to load up minions.
Honestly, I don't mind sapping it and just playing 2 Weblords. I think that's totally reasonable.
Wow, that is so BM. Oh my God. Because then that Fire Elemental becomes a 10 mana cost creature.
And you have the... It's not like the 1/4s are making a big difference, but this damage is going to start adding up really quickly. He's fine with it being 8 mana. 8 mana is no different than 8 mana. Clear out the board. Oh my gosh, this is really bad news if you're in Tice's spot right here. What can he even draw to get out of this?
He needs Hex.
Wow, and 1 turn late!
Lightning Bolt.
Oh my gosh.
That's way too late. That's
so
pretty rough
brutal.
if you're Tice.
So he can kill.
He still can do something though about this.
Yeah. So 3, 4, 5. So I imagine it's going to be Unbound Elemental, Lava Burst the Van Cleef, Lightning Bolt the Van Cleef, Rock Biter the 3/3.
Mm-hmm.
He hasn't.
And consequently, you do have a 4/6 on the board, which is nice. He used both saps.
Oh, look at this! This would be a really weird play.
This is saying I hope you don't have Eviscerate.
I don't.
If that's the case.
I don't like Alec here at all.
Oh
my gosh. This kid, I mean, he's got to do something to this board, and now he's not done it. Wait. Here's the shield.
But he also, oh my goodness, he's just gonna go for it and force his opponent to kill him this turn. Then.
Wait a minute.
Oh, but he draws Leroy.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Yeah, he has the burst to kill him the following turn because he has the Lava Burst, Lightning Bolt with the Rock Biters. That's more than enough. That's 14 damage, right?
What, is the Weblord going to come back to bite him?
Well, he picked up Leroy, so let's Shiv. So yeah.
Wait, he puts the Weblord.
As long as he just he has the Leroy, right? Because then the Leroy can come in and squeeze it. You have to suicide the Weblord first, don't you? Oh, you can't though. It's 4 health.
He's only got 11
damage.
He's only got 11 damage because he pops the shield. Wait, hang on a second. So he shifts.
Well, let's see what he draws. Let's see what he draws.
He's still mana short.
It's like, oh.
Oh my gosh. There's no lethal here. The Web Lord is coming back to bite him.
Hard. I don't know if he had. Yeah, he needed a way to kind of get rid of it, but he can't. So he has to kind of go through it manually. Which is
Web Lord.
Oh, of course.
Oh my goodness!
The game's over.
Perfect draw.
Oh my goodness!
I can't.
Thijs figured it out just as the rope was burning.
Because they have the last counter, but as we saw that game, miracles can happen.
That doesn't mean anything, right?
Yeah,
it doesn't mean anything in the context of what happens with the draws and with the game. So I'm ready for game number 3, Admirable, because these guys have delivered a good series so far.
Handlock indeed.
Okay. Opening hands. Handlock is going first. Miracle's on the coin, so both players kind of getting what they want in that respect.
This opening hand from Thijs is not very spectacular. Yep.
No, you kind of want to start something to do early game. You don't really need to have those early drops to kind of offload the hand. If you're going second, you want to push something like a Farseer or the Watcher's Out, right? Or if you have a Nerubian Egg, because you're going to be overdrawing anyways. But in this respect, you can kind of push as hard as you can. He has Ascension, though, so he has something to do on turn 4.
A couple of life taps going to be coming in. And again, another kind of weak hand from Darkwonyx. He has Conceal, so if he can find an Auctioneer like he did in the last game, expect some fireworks. But outside of that, this hand may fall a little bit short in terms of action. Preparation's not going to do it, but it strengthens his Miracle Draw.
He's got a sick hand if he has the Auctioneer with it.
Yep. Ooh, and there's a Twilight Drake. That's one of those prime answers versus Handlock. I'm sorry, versus Miracle Rogue as well. It's got so much health, and the 4 power is enough to continue the threat.
Still no sign of anything to do, though, for Darkwonyx, just passing.
Yep.
Okay.
I'm sort of curious why he poisons there.
Yeah, I'm just trying to wonder, because if he draws into something, because if you have like the SI7 agent, usually don't you want to kind of save that deadly poison to immediately activate the following turn?
I was thinking the same thing. Wow, second Shadow Step. You know what? This might be one of those games where just Leroy's good enough.
Right. So he doesn't need to draw through his deck. He has all the damage he needs.
Right.
But then that's where cards like Senjin really become MVP, not only because of the surprise factor, because of how annoying it is, of the inconvenience that Miracle Rogue has to chew through it.
Yeah, that's something else I wanted to talk about, and I forgot. I was trying to remember what it was. A lot of people have been playing Senjins in Miracle Rogue, and some people think it's there as like an anti-aggro element, but I think the reason it's actually there is in the Miracle Mirror, you play Senjin on a turn that they're going to go for lethal with Leroy, and then instead they have to expend 2 mana into killing the Senjin Shieldmaster, so it throws them off that lethal turn, and then you lethal them the following turn. And then it also just happens to be good versus aggro at the same time. The Web Lord, by the way, a little bit
Web Lord
late.
would have been so good against the Drake.
Oh my gosh.
That is pretty devastating.
Do you even
Because the
play it
battle
anymore?
cry is to gain health, huh?
Yeah, there's a battle cry on the Twilight Drake.
People don't think about that, right? As the Drake to have a battle cry, but it does. Oh man.
Cry. Do you remember when it was a 1/1 and got +1/+1 for each card in your hand?
I do. I remember, and it was so broken. The only way
You're just like, and 6/6, go ahead.
it was like the free 9-win arena run, right? If you picked up a Drake that had that, because it was just so powerful. Like, how did that even get past R&D?
Hey, I mean, everyone makes mistakes, right? That's why Pencil's got erasers, and that's why we record our videos so that you can ridicule mistakes for years to come.
I think that was a poster posted on my school wall. Wait, Conceal?
Well,
All
right.
Maybe he doesn't want. Oh, wait. Faceless. He doesn't want to get Faceless, right? Because Faceless is a battle cry.
Oh, is Faceless a battle cry? Oh, it is a battle cry.
I think so. So I think he wants to prevent the Faceless from coming down next turn because he can't deal with second Drake.
I'm gonna Google this.
Sure. While we are casting a really intense series between 2 high-level Hearthstone players,
Manipulator.
go ahead. Pull up.
Faceless Manipulator is a battle cry.
Wow. Go me.
Look at you, Frodan. Heads up plays.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Whoa, okay, he finally gets it.
He just used the conceal though.
Sure, but he has preparations and eviscerate, so he's got stuff to do.
Okay.
By all means.
So maybe this is something he was looking forward to as well, is actually Cold Blood Sweb Lord.
The Cold Blood allows it to also go through the Senjin, but he wasn't intending to because Senjin wasn't down by then.
Right.
So an interesting development of things where Darkwonyx can really pull back into this.
Do you lead with preparation here? I feel like you lead with Cold Blood.
Well, I think it means, doesn't he want to use his Eviscerate then? If you're kind of using your mana that way? Unless he's fishing for something else.
Can you just Cold Blood first, though?
That is true.
Okay, so he's going to save the Eviscerate.
Oh. If he had that preparation, but yeah.
Was he trying to draw Blood Mage?
But then if he did, then he should have Cold-Blooded first then.
No, if he Cold Bloods
wouldn't make
first,
sense.
If he Cold Bloods first then, he doesn't have 2 mana left.
But then he has the preparation.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Whoa.
You're right.
He's Shadow
Okay,
Stepping.
Shadow Step on the Web Lord. And
He's
play it again.
He's trying to draw the right cards, is what he's trying to do. This is really weird.
This is very out of the box thinking by Darkwonyx.
Yeah,
I'm trying to get to the head of the player, which you always try to do as the commentator, but I'm a little bit at loss here.
Yeah, that's a very strange sequence. I don't know what he's considering. Like, why is the Web Lord so important in that regard? Is he still trying to prevent taunts and then something else from happening?
Right, he can't face us and taunt or something. In fact, face us would take his entire turn.
You know, that's something that's really actually kind of important is the taunts this turn. It really puts a restriction on his opponent's mana. That's a really strange play.
But then wouldn't he just kill the 1/4 anyways?
But then
the consequence is about the same.
Yeah, but then he doesn't kill the Auctioneer. Instead, it's going to be Shadow Flame. Regardless of which, it's not going to make much of a difference this turn. Shadow Flame is coming out on this Ancient Watcher. Okay. So,
I think it's still important to kind of analyze the situation of what's going on, but
yeah, I can't figure out a reason why he would do that other than trying to like restrict his opponent's mana on the taunts, so that way his opponent has to take alternate options. But your opponent's such a high life total that I don't think restricting his options is that important, especially if you're going to push through the 3 damage from the dagger.
He's not on that much mana either as well. He's on 7, so I don't know if you're really worried about him being able to go through that, but I guess it's in the past already, so we can't really figure that out. Darkwonyx, he has an SI7 pickup, and he also wants to kind of draw some cards to see if he can get through to his Leroy, potentially his win condition.
Yep, Shiv here.
Picks up Eviscerate number 2. Okay, and this Web Lord. Number 2, while he puts him down at 18 health, so if he picks up the Leroy, he has the win, right? He has a lot of damage in his hand.
He's got 10, 14 damage right now with Blood Mage, 2 Eviscerates, and Blood Flurry.
Right.
I'm sorry, Blade Fury.
Your excuse. I can't believe you almost let that one slip, man.
Anyone who watched DreamHack knows that it's definitely called Blood Fury. Blade Fury.
Absolutely.
Why do I keep calling it
Blood Fury?
I keep wanting to say... I don't even know what I'm trying to say anymore. I really don't.
It's okay. It's hour 4 or 5, man. I understand completely what you're going through.
I got a few hours of sleep. Leave me alone. This is
his options aren't very sexy at this point. You know, he's feeling like his opponent might be in lethal range, so he's going to try to do whatever he can to put himself out of harm's way. But it's not very appealing, because even if his opponent has double Shadow Step and Leroy, the game's over.
Yeah, I actually... Well, he can't have double Shadow Step because he Shadow Stepped the Web Lord, right?
Oh, you're right. You're right. Okay, so he's not worried about that.
Not this turn, he's not. He's not worried about Shadow Step Leroy this turn, I don't think. Although, is there still a sequence that could have killed him? Because we had 12...
If he had preparation, maybe.
Right, 19 damage was the most he could deal without a preparation.
Right.
But that's a really strong sequence for your opponent to have.
If he had the mana short, though, he could have eliminated this Drake at least. And combine it with the SI7.
Yeah, I think you got to go for face here.
That's still pretty annoying.
Playing that Blood Mage this soon might end up coming back to bite him, too. Because now he's 3 less damage on all the spells in his hand.
Yeah, that is true, now that I think about it. And even might be this key to kind of getting past everything with Blade Flurry. Okay, Tice picks up a second Mortal Coil, so he can kind of cycle through. Important question is...
At the same time, taunting's not really that important here anymore. Your opponent has threatened Blade Fury so much here that it's like you're going to have 1 health worth of minion after, or 2 health worth of minions after he does it.
Okay. Yeah, like he's just going to limit his card draw then because you realize he didn't have the ways to kill him previous turn. You don't need to kind of silence your own Watcher to go for creative play. He gets a Leroy as well.
4-10. He's only got 18. That's if he saves the other Soulfire from the discard.
The Law of Soulfire.
He really doesn't want to tap either.
He's just counting. He's just counting just to make sure that he doesn't have it, which he does.
You can tell he doesn't want to tap either. He doesn't want to go any lower. But I think this might be one of those spots where he has to tap.
But then he's weak to a Blade Flurry as soon as he cleans this up.
Ooh, Mountain Giant's not good.
So now we're down to the point where I think a Leroy draw, right? That's still enough because then it puts on the 16 with Leroy plus... No, it wouldn't be. That's too bad. Ah, well, he is Leroy.
I think you wait on this.
On this Blade Flurry?
I think so.
That is a really tough call to make.
You know what? He's not going to... He's going to...
really tough call to make.
I think you got to get in 6 with Leroy, is what I think. I don't know. Maybe he doesn't have to get in 6 with Leroy.
He still is damage short. He actually has to attack here.
Oh, you definitely attack with the dagger. There's no question.
Yeah.
I think he's thinking about whether or not he wants to eviscerate also. God, this is a really tough couple of turns. If he drew the Leroy before he drew the Fan of Knives, by the way, he got in 12 points of damage with Leroy.
If you eviscerate, though, and you put him down to, 1, and he has Molten Giants and another taunt, then how are you going to win from that point on?
That as well.
So I think passing here might be his best option because at best he can put up 1. No, he can tap, put himself at 2 Giants worth with a Sun Fury, right?
I think you got to attack with the dagger here, I think. Nope, okay, he's just going to pass.
Well, I mean, he still has, 20 damage worth in his hand, so assuming he can all go to the face. His opponent did have a Molten Giant, though, so that was a very important move that Darkwonyx just showed, that he didn't put his opponent lower. And now Tice will have to put up 1 taunt.
Sap. He needs a sap right here.
He runs 2 saps, right?
Oh.
Well, he has another chance, doesn't he?
Okay.
He might be able to do this.
So if he double eviscerates this giant, he can put his opponent... This is one of the reasons why I think the attack was so important, too. Because, if you put him at 15... This turn you'd be going to 14, and then you only need to draw 1 more point of damage to get the dagger to be lethal. You have
1 damage is, yeah, that's true.
You have to.
Well, I think the eviscerate is too important, or sorry, the giant's too strong, so you have to kind of eviscerate. Otherwise, you could just lose the game from there.
Now at this point, your opponent's played 2 Sun Fury Protectors, so they only have 2 potential taunts left. You got to attack here.
Yeah, you only have 12 damage from the hand, and you kind of have to whittle it down. You have to pick up something really nice, too, to kind of complement it. So now Tice, he has a lot of damage. If he picks up... Let's see, if he picks up Faceless, can he do this?
Oh, that's not going to do
it.
Faceless would have done it, by the way. Faceless is 24 damage, at least.
Yeah.
Darkwonyx has a chance to win this game now. Wow.
Because Tice doesn't have an actual way to stop Leroy.
Right. Just 1 damage off lethal next turn. And if he would attack with the dagger, his opponent would be in lethal range.
You're true. That's right. That's right.
Oh,
I was agreeing with you that I thought he was supposed to be attacking there.
Oh.
But I think also because if he attacked and his opponent tapped, he'd be able to double giant and taunt. Because if you're at 5 and then you tap to 13, then you can play 2 giants for 6 and then a Sun Fury.
He's doing this Immortal Coil to take for a card.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Oh,
Mountain Giant.
Anything. He feels this threat of lethal. He has to kill that whelp. That whelp would be lethal also. And now the giant's going to come down. And now Darkwonyx, he has got to put together something because he is facing a potential lethal next turn. Tice can tap into the right cards. And then
he has right there. He has it right there with double Soulfire, right? and it's 8 tax. So if assuming he doesn't discard it, he has the 16 damage.
Right. So he's got to fade the 4 damage discard on the Soulfire.
Oh man, but Darkwonyx has an Azure Drake. That's not what he needed.
He needed 1 point of damage. Oh my gosh.
Is there a way he can draw into something that could potentially help him? Maybe a second sap? I think that's what he needs.
That would extend the game a little bit.
And that might be what he needs. Oh, Gadget Sand.
That's not a bad one.
But that's so hard.
He's got to fade.
So
he's got to fade this card. He needs to call it a preparation sap here.
Preparation.
Oh!
No! Oh no!
All right, so Darkwonyx's only chance to win here is if his opponent discards the Soulfire to the Soulfire.
A wise professor once told me that when Soulfire comes into play, if you're holding a second Soulfire, you discard that one.
Wow, and he draws him!
Oh! Defender of Argus! He doesn't need it. He's got 12 damage plus the Soulfire, so that's going to be game.
Believe it. 1
wow.
damage being the difference in losing and winning the game for Darkwonyx. That is a heartbreaker. My gosh.
Really, really close game. Probably the best series of the day so far. I've been really enjoying the games, and let's find out what happens in Hunter versus the Handlock. Now, the Haunted Creeper is a card that we saw earlier in the Hunter from Darkwonyx, and it's a card that I experimented a lot with. I don't know about you, but it seems to have like an interesting synergy because the Spectral Spiders don't actually become beasts, and so you don't get synergy directly off of that. Right. But what I really like about the Haunted Creeper is that it gives Hunter a way to do those like 1 point of damage early on that it normally doesn't have without like a Stone Dust Boar or something like that.
One of the things
it gives
I like
a way to kind of control the board in a sense.
One of the things that I like about it is it makes you not have to play with River Crocolisk.
Oh, come on. You can still do both. You can even do one of each, and it works great. There's room for both.
There's always room for both. And look at him right at Boar Control. This is going to be a tough one for Thijs to come back from.
You really don't like River Crocolisk?
Look, I like Golden River Crocolisk.
Did you fall in a river when you were young and then
look, Golden River
bad alligators?
Golden River Crocolisk, I love playing it, but like on my EU account, I only have regular River Crocolisk. I just can't stand it.
Okay. So you're an elitist. That's
I mean, if you want to get down to it, if that's what you want to label things as, yeah. If you want to go with labels,
well, you come from the best country. You only expect the best cards in your collection. All right.
This curve, by the way, this is
this is really nice because he has the Houndmaster, which is super important.
Misha, I think, is this worst one here actually. Like Leok would have gotten in 2 extra points of damage this turn.
That's true.
And then
but at the same time, it survives like a Hellfire as well. The only thing you're worried about is a Soulfire in response to it.
Yep.
Then you don't get it for anything.
I've got some bad news for Thijs this game, by the way. Is it he plays anything, he's gonna get freezing trapped, very likely. Mm-hmm. So he's gonna have to. One of the things that he's gonna have a heads up play here for is not attacking if his opponent plays a trap.
Okay, so Thijs does end up playing that Drake, and just like you said, Darkwonyx is flirting with the idea of that freezing trap, seeing what he can get from it, or from the flare afterwards.
Yep.
But, just kind of keep the hero power, just kind of keep your opponent low. But he gets 16. Wow.
He needs to draw a Hunter's Mark really bad.
Mm-hmm.
Unleash the Hounds isn't a bad one either. Oh, geez, this is a lot of taunts. That is 13 points of taunted damage.
It's still it is a lot of taunts, but it sets up 3 targets of Unleash the Hounds too. So he might, it's kind of annoying to have to deal with that. But at the same time, do you have really an alternative? Just playing what the Defender of Argus? That's not going to be much better.
I think you have some, yeah.
Well, you definitely have to minimize damage, and that's a freezing trap for sure. So you're not going to attack with your Drake no matter what.
I don't think you attack with the Drake here. Like, if that's freezing trap, you're going to lose the game if you attack.
Mm-hmm.
This is sort of interesting, though. I'm curious why he's choosing to go with this over the Ancient Watcher. I guess he wants to, like you were pointing out, he wants to minimize against Unleash the Hounds. That would be the only reason I can think of.
I think the 5 health, though, might be worth the 1 extra card, don't you feel?
I think so. The risk of 1 extra card. Because your opponent has to have Buzzard and Unleash, too.
Well, he does go for it, and the 5/9 Drake is pumped up and ready for action. But Darkwonyx, let's see what he top decks. Gets an Eaglehorn Bow.
He can clear this guy out, but boy, that's a hefty cost.
Yeah.
And now this Freezing Trap actually might come back to bite him, by the way, because it's going to put another taunt.
Right, because it's Defender of Argus?
Yeah.
Well, maybe he can flare and see what he gets alternatively. But at least the converse is that even if it does pop and he has the Eaglehorn Bow live, then at least he gets an extra charge.
Yeah. If he draws Hunter's Mark, by the way, that's a blowout.
Off the flare?
Yeah, that's just a complete blowout.
Get out. That'd be too ridiculous. That is the Hearthstone gods interfering and say, I want this to go to game 5.
The Hearthstone. They're cruel ones, by the way.
Yes.
I've fallen victim. Senor Brody. I have fallen victim to the Hearthstone gods. I feel like everyone's fallen victim to the Hearthstone gods. Everyone can understand that position. Instead, he's going to go for the 2 damage to the face. I like this.
Okay.
This extends his maximum damage potential.
Yeah.
I don't think he needs to get lucky and draw Hunter's Mark to win this game. Wow, Ascension comes into the hand.
Yeah. Some good quality taunts.
You know what? If he attacks and triggers this Freezing Trap, though, he gets another charge on that bow. So something to consider. This may be another don't attack turn.
Mm-hmm.
Look, he can't even play Mountain Giant. He has to play a taunt.
Yeah, because you're not exactly swimming in health points right now.
Right.
So he's kind of keep everything's kind of a luxury. We'll see what Darkwonyx is able to pick up. Picks up an Animal Companion.
That could potentially be good.
Yeah, depends on what he gets. And that's exactly one of the drawbacks of Animal Companion, though. It is RNG dependent, right? You don't feel like you can rely on it all the time.
Oh, he's a Snapjaw. That's an interesting draw.
Does it help, though?
I think it's actually
Animal
good.
Companion is looking better.
I think Animal Companion is only looking better because you want the extra 2 points of damage. Like, you keep getting your hero power. Your hero power is really chipping away at your opponent's ability to continue to stay in this game. Because once they've expended all of their tools to get a board presence, they can't life tap anymore to get back up. So they have to kill you with Molten Giants. So what he's thinking about right now is he like, can I even beat Molten Giants? And the answer is, yes, you can, but you're going to have to draw kind of well. So I actually...
Well, see what he gets. Ooh, he gets the Huffer so he can break through immediately. That's nice.
Yep.
And that way he can deny Ascension. He can deny a possible way to get like a Faceless on it as well.
Yeah. He
also
also
gets
gets
more resistance.
He gets another point of damage for this minion too. That's really important.
That is also true. That is true.
Every point of damage mattering, as we saw in the last game.
Yeah, with that hero power and that weapon bow with almost like a guaranteed 3 damage, most likely going to the face, then he just needs to draw into, I don't know, like a finisher, like a Leroy, and then the game could be over.
Oh my gosh! He's going to be able to play Mountain Giant and Taunt this turn because he's going to have an extra card in his hand.
Oh, that's actually very true. It's a good observation.
Wow!
Get the Sanctuary out. That's really clever. Oh my goodness.
Waiting to the perfect moment to trigger the trap. Darkwonyx needs a Hunter's Mark.
Oh, he has a Hunter's Mark!
Oh my gosh!
Whoa! Oh my goodness.
Are you kidding me?
Well, he has to kind of think how he wants to do this. He can draw a card off the Oasis Snapjaw and see what happens in response. That is exactly what Darkwonyx needed, whether or not it was the first card or the second card off the top.
I think you need to save this Buzzard. I think you just get, because how does he kill the Snapjaw? I think you just Hunter's Mark, run the 1/1 in, play the Snapjaw, and ping him for 2. Because if you draw,
I like the idea of constantly pinging every turn too.
Right, like if you draw Unleash the Hounds after you play this Buzzard and Buzzard manages to die somehow, you're gonna really regret having played it. There's like, it's so hard for your opponent to kill the Snapjaw outside of Siphon Soul as well. It's like, I can't imagine that drawing a single card is worth more than 2 points of damage right now. I just don't.
Yeah, and the card you draw is actually very low impact because you only have 1 mana anyways.
Right.
Okay. Well, Darkwonyx's going to put Tice at 6, so despite a clever play, he's looking to be on the ropes.
Wow. That Hunter's Mark.
Hmm.
We were just talking about the
Too sick.
gods interfering, by the way, saying they want a game 5.
Oh, he has a Siphon Soul, so he has a way to deal with it. He does.
It's a good draw right now, but he's at the same time he's also got to be putting together a plan to actually kill his opponent. So the lack of Molten Giant here really being a major difference in how this game's going to end up panning out. This is his only play. He's got it. He's got to take care of the OS's Snapshot. It's just too much health.
Okay, let's see what Darkwonyx is able to pull up. Maybe something like a kill command.
Third.
Lol. I guess at this stage you just kind of have to see what you get. You might draw into the way to end the game.
Second snap draw. That's going to be 2 more cards.
That's 2 cards.
And now,
okay,
this is a big question. If he has a second bow in his deck, he wants to attack with this bow, I think. And if he doesn't have a second bow in his deck, I think he wants to hold it.
I completely agree, but I think most people do play 2 bows. Some people kind of play 1. I know for a while, like Amaz only played 1 bow, but he likes to play. Now he put into 2 bows recently.
He wants to clear the 2/3.
Yes, so then the deadly shot is a higher chance of hitting what he wants.
That deadly shot really changed how he attacked as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's see what Thijs gets. He gets Power Overwhelming, so he has Power Overwhelming Faceless and Soulfire, so he's got lots of damage if he had the mana and the Leroy.
He's got to clear the board this turn.
Mm-hmm.
I think you have to Earth
Shadow Flame.
Yeah, I think you have to Earth Ring Power Shadow Flame, which is a really weak turn, to be perfectly honest, but I don't think you have another option. Like, if you take a risky option, you're going to get crippled.
Flame. Yeah. And this is assuming some of the hardest hitting creatures haven't come out yet, like the Savannah Highmanes, which should just completely rock his world.
Right.
Because he has to silence it and somehow deal with it. Thijs does go for the full board clear. Let's see what Darkwonyx draws. Thijs has just been bouncing back and forth between this critical levels of health and barely surviving.
Yep.
Well, he gets a Hunter's Mark.
Another Hunter's Mark.
That's going to be nice if he draws into one of his Molten Giants here.
Wow, he's got all the answers. And Thijs has to put something together, but it's so hard for him to life tap right now. Every point of life mattering so much. A second Soulfire is not what he wants.
Faceless thing this 3/4.
He's going to Faceless the 3/4 and then silence it, and then Soulfire the 4/3.
Is there any value of playing playing the other 2 ones, 2 mana cost creatures? Like if you played the Ancient Watcher, or is that something you're hoping to discard?
I think at this you want to discard the Soulfire, but at this point you need. I think you still want the Defender of Argus in your hand.
Okay.
You want to discard the first.
What's it gonna be? Oh, he loses.
Wow.
The Defender.
That's the worst.
Oh, that makes the Watcher pretty useless.
And now he's got to consider whether or not he wants to tap, or whether or not he wants to play the Ancient Watcher. I don't think you can tap anymore. I think tapping is working against your player at this point. You have to get lucky, I think.
Well.
Wow, another Master.
Wow, the Houndmaster actually allows it to be buffed because the Haunted Creeper still is a beast, but this Deadly Shot is...
You can see he really wants to let it rip.
Wow. How do you even go about this?
God, I don't know.
You Deadly Shot, hopefully it lands, and you can Houndmaster. It hits the Iron Beak Owl.
Wrong one.
That was not what Darkwonyx wanted.
He's still in pretty good shape, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like his opponent can be killing him from 21.
Right.
He wanted an advantage to win the game there.
Definitely hold on to this Hunter's Mark. He doesn't have any buzzards left, so that makes a big difference.
Leroy.
Oh, that's an ugly draw right now after you just invested so much into sweeping the board away. You don't have Faceless, you don't have Power Overwhelming. That's just a 6-point damage spell.
Yeah.
And you need stuff to like affect the board right now. Like you don't need more burst damage.
Is it a tap? It's a tap. Mountain Giant. That is one of the worst cards you could draw because it's completely dead.
You just play Leroy and Soulfire here.
You could.
This is brutal.
You could, and it almost feels like you kind of have to. Oh, he's going for the 50-50. Oh, no, he loses his Leroy.
That Mountain Giant
is
completely
really
dead in his hand right now. He can't even play the Mountain Giant next turn.
Oh, and it's a kill command. It's a kill command.
That's enough.
So he can kill command directly through, and then hero power.
And that's
Darkwonyx has tied up the series. It's game 5. I told you. Somebody is watching, and they're putting their finger on it and says them against the Miracle
I just
Rogue
want to
player.
make sure I wasn't remembering things improperly. One of the
You're right. Trust yourself.
We're going to head into mulligans right now. One of the things that's important in this matchup is actually Savannah Highmane. It's like easily one of the most important cards. Your opponent has to be able to deal with it, and Druid does not deal with it very effectively. So your curve is also something you want to consider as well. But if you draw something like Savannah Highmane in your opening hand as Hunter, I actually think you're just supposed to keep it because it's that important into winning the game.
Mm-hmm. It racks the damage. Assuming you can bait out things like keepers earlier on, because keeper is always the thing that you save no matter what for the high mains because of how much value it gets. But for some reason you can force it out, then the high mains just wreak havoc. Another card that's actually really big too is freezing trap, because that can also really mess up the druid. Who's normally kind of used to getting ahead of the curve because they have innervates. Then all of a sudden freezing trap kind of undoes that, and it forces them to play pretty honestly.
Right.
So if you can draw into that early, sometimes you see players put freezing trap on turn 2 on an empty board because they know whatever comes out next, it's going to really mess up what Druid's plans are.
Right. Something else that I want to touch on is how important Buzzard is in this matchup. It's not an expendable card. You need to save Buzzard for a turn where you can unleash and then swing the board back in your favor with Hunter's Marks. It's extremely critical to winning this matchup. It's really hard to stress it too much, honestly, because that's just how important it is. Oasis Snapdraw, though, this is a card that I've continued to be surprised by when people play this. Wow, look,
trap.
Right off the top.
Trap. What were we talking about, man?
We were talking about the Hearthstone gods and how cruel they could be at times.
That is so brutal because it's off the top, and now this engine is going to cost 6 mana, and essentially Freezing Trap has not only taken away the Innervate, but worked a way to basically anti-Innervate this engine. So really nice top deck here for Darkwonyx.
Yeah. And
he also has coin for double Oasis Snapjaw.
And he drew Houndmaster too.
Oh my goodness, he's curving perfectly into this.
This is exactly what he wants. Now, honestly, here's a question for you. Mm-hmm. Do you play the second Oasis Snapjaw next turn, or do you play the Houndmaster?
I mean, I like second Oasis Snapjaw. The only thing is, the longer you wait on the Houndmaster, the more likelihood they might have something like Black Knight. And that's always one of the ways to just completely get crushed, because it's 9 damage that's being tossed out by this Black Knight. So I wouldn't blame him for pushing out the Houndmaster. Oasis Snapjaw is not going to be that much more intimidating. It's not like you're loading the board up. But it does make you a lot more resilient and stuff.
This is a tough turn. He has no good plays here. The 2/7. A 2/7 is a nightmare right now. This may be indicative of a matchup where my Exna is really strong. Is against Druid. Just look how strong this 2/7 is. This is so weird.
Yeah, but my Exna costs so much mana though, relative to. I really can't imagine my Exna working unless, like, I did see it once being played with a Mark of the Wild Faceless and a Ramp Druid, and that kind of made sense. It kind of made sense then, but again, that's one of those things where you have to set up and hopefully you get it. So maybe someone can kind of experiment with that. I don't know.
He's considering swiping too. This is a brutal turn. Like of all the cards that end up being really good against you, this is like one of the last ones you think of, I think.
Check this out, though, because if his opponent goes for a Houndmaster play, which you might expect, then he has a Faceless to kind of respond to it and force his opponent to go into it. But then he knows his opponent plays Deadly Shot, so that's still not preferable either. So then if you're Darkwonyx, which route do you go? What do you think? You asked me the question. Do you like second Oasis Snapshot or Houndmaster?
I think Oasis is better because it prevents you from getting blown out by like Innervate Black Knight or something weird.
Yeah.
And at the same time, it's like this 2/7 is obviously presenting a big problem for him. So I think this is a prize factor of the Houndmaster accounts for a little bit more damage.
Okay. Well, the Houndmaster does come out. I think either of them are pretty good, honestly. I mean, this one just directly loads more damage onto the board and gets you closer to being able to pressure Druid into really tough situations.
It also plays around Faceless, as you were mentioning. Like now Faceless is a fantastic play.
Yeah. So now he gets his own 4/9 taunt for 5 mana, which is pretty sick.
Kill Command's a good draw here, though.
Or Hunter's Mark? One can't be that lucky. Or can they?
We've seen it before.
Oh, man. If he flares into something like a Deadly Shot, can you imagine? Ooh, okay. The Eagle Horn Bow allows him to kill it off.
Yeah, I think you have a second snapshot here.
Mm-hmm.
And just start wearing away at these turtles.
It's a turtle party.
I really don't like attacking with the Houndmaster here, but it's a really good way to head. Like, if you're going to attack, honestly, in hindsight, I think you just attack it with the Houndmaster and then pass with your 4-9 up. It leaves you very vulnerable to a card like Black Knight.
Oh, I don't know about that, man. Yeah, it really leaves you super vulnerable to Black Knight.
But if
you have to have major balls, because guess what? Tice just top deck.
Wow, that is a huge draw right now.
Because you were saying, man, if he hedged his bets, he would have lost that. Oh my goodness.
Oh my gosh.
Crisis averted.
You know what? This is sort of we were touching on playing the turtle, the second turtle, or playing the Houndmaster. If your goal is to play around Black Knight, it's like this is the right attack. So this is within the same line of thought. And at the same time, if you really want to play against Black Knight, you just don't play the Houndmaster right away. You wait till you can get value out of it.
Yeah, immediately use it as a trade-up option as opposed to a way to kind of initiate damage.
Has completely changed the way.
Okay, a Savannah High Main. All right, that's a big draw for Darkwonyx, but at the same time, you don't want to kind of put it on the board with an inability to protect it, because if it gets silenced, then there's a way for the High Main to die for free. Well, I guess he's just going to drop it anyways.
This is the right play. Like, it's so hard for there to be a better play than this, because if this lives, like, it's how do you lose if this lives uncontested? That card's a monstrosity, and it's even forcing Tice's hand here. Tice doesn't have an option; he has to silence this, and he's going to have to sacrifice his Black Knight, I think.
Yeah. Sacrifice and Wrath and see what you draw.
Do you Wrath first?
I don't think it changes the play.
I can't imagine anything that would change it. But I think
because the objective still stays the same unless there's unless there was a 5-mana card that was able to silence and deal 4 damage at the same time.
This could end up.
That I'm missing in Hearthstone.
If he doesn't silence this, there's a potential for this buzzard to draw a lot of cards.
Yes.
It's gonna sound weird, but something even as crazy as like Hunter's Mark your own Savannah High Main might be worth it. Ooh, Wild Ghost's a really bad draw right now.
Hmm. Tice, what are you thinking? He's saving his Keeper of the Groves. Now, on the flip side, Keeper of the Grove is so effective against High Main that even if it somehow gets too late, you also can use his not hero power. You can use its choose power to do 2 damage and kill off one of those. So it's still pretty effective.
Oh,
second High Main.
My gosh. He's got to kill this Azure Drake, right?
Yeah, because the swipe potential is just too strong. But then you just followed up with second Hyman because he showed that he couldn't deal with it, even though we know that he could. Huh. That is really curious. Now, Darkwonyx, he does have a lot of other options at his disposal. But I think second Hyman's too good to pass up.
It's way too good. I don't even know if you kill the Azure Drake, honestly.
I think you have to, though, don't you? Because he has 8 mana. What if he clears, double swipe or something and just wrecks you?
Yeah. This is a tough turn. It looks really easy, but he's got so much at his disposal. He needs to be thinking like a couple turns in advance here. And so you can't just be blinded by the fact that you're drawing these super powerful cards. You need to be actually trying to figure out a way to get something out of this.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. It's fair.
Yep. I think this is his best play. Tice is going to get a lot of good value from this, though. It's going to be silence onto this other High Main.
Silence and a swipe. Let's see, is that able to clear? No, he won't be able to clear everything, but it'll still take care of most of these boards and actually deal with the 2 Savannah High Mains and get that out of the way while still having a comfortable health. Usually, by the time you can stabilize from the High Main, if you can't kill it immediately. Usually hovering in the mid-teens to low 20s.
Do you leave this other Savannah alone? Like, do you instead silence the 6/1 and then Wrath it to draw a card?
And then what? Just Wild Growth or Hero Power? And then...
Well, if he didn't Wild Growth last turn, he's certainly going to be Hero Powering again this turn.
Yeah.
The Sunwalker, though, could change his draw. He might want to get in a 4 and a 6 next turn.
I mean, I think there is merit to that, but it depends on how his objectives are, right? Because I don't think he has like Force of Nature Savage Roar right now. It doesn't have anything close to that, so he doesn't have a way to directly end the game. But you know what? Maybe he does go for it.
Another play also is he could attack the 6/5 with his 4/3 and then just swipe the face, leave his opponent with 2/2/2s.
Yeah,
I think that's fine as well. He also has life to spare though, so like this isn't the worst thing in the world either. I would have much rather seen swipe here though. I don't want to pay 6 life.
I think he's cycling his Wrath maybe to dig for more ways to respond to it, but he just, I mean, he still doesn't have a direct way to kind of pressure the Hunter, right? He doesn't have any of his combo pieces. He's playing more of a slow Druid, which is not exactly like Thijs. He normally plays it fast.
Oh, and there's Unleash the Hounds.
Unleash.
The nightmare that we all thought we'd avoided when they nerfed this card. It's back.
It's back, but a little bit late. Kill Command. Let's see, what can he do with Kill Command as well? It just sets up really good burst opportunities because he does have Bow. He does have things like the Explosive Trap. Explosive Trap, by the way, is so good against Druids sometimes when late game scenarios.
Right, it offsets their ability.
If they have like a taunt, yeah. If you can set up like a taunt with the Houndmaster and Explosive Trap, then it gets really difficult for them to set up a combo.
He actually takes Kill Command. I'm really curious about that.
Well, I mean, how many creatures is Druid going to drop every turn? Usually 1 at most.
With the current board state, it just looks like your opponent can actually get like an advantageous position on you. Ooh.
Oh, he rolls a Huffer. And he can play this Spider as well to get another draw.
He's just going to push for damage. This is unreal. Wow, and a very big change of pace for Darkwonyx. I am really surprised he didn't take Unleash the Hounds. And then I'm actually really surprised that he didn't try to protect his Buzzard either.
Yeah.
And this is
like
swipe
is going to do wonders.
This is the perfect double swipe. This is why he didn't double swipe. Or this is why he didn't swipe the turn before.
To set up a potential bigger double swipe now, especially since the Savannah Highmanes are gone. Now it's going to be up to Darkwonyx to generate the amount of damage he needs to. He does have Kill Command, though, and the Eaglehorn Bow and Traps, and so he does have a way to generate it.
Now taking the Kill Command looks kind of like a genius play because you're just reaching for damage.
Because it makes sense, right? Because the Unleash the Hounds is more of the control plays. Like, I want to control the board and limit what your options are while I keep drawing cards and play more of the long term. But Darkwonyx is playing because he has the bow and 2 traps. Like, he's got a lot of mileage on being able to do damage.
Sort of, yeah. But in the same vein, like if you take, like you already have a board presence. Like you have the board advantage, and you're already pushing for damage. If you take Unleash the Hounds there, you just get to draw the rest of your deck. Like, because your opponent is eventually going to get 2 or 3 minions on the board. There's not really any way around that, I don't think.
Yeah, that's fair. Oh, he picks up a good target that he can use the Houndmaster for, and even still push out the Eaglehorn Bow and get some damage in. Because at this stage, you recognize that the Druid is also still looking for options. He still hasn't played like his Ancient of Lords and stuff, so you need to kind of continue racking in damage as much as possible. Although the option is also to clear and kill off this Keeper of the Grove.
I like just going for face.
I like it too. You have traps.
You've already also committed to this plan by burning your Buzzard and by attacking his face so much.
I think he also wants to be very careful if there's a way to just lose from this position. Like, say if his opponent had the combo. But he's at a pretty comfortable health percentage right now that I think there's no way for him to do it unless he had double Savage Roar with the Innervate.
Right. I mean, that would just...
Which how often do you play around that, right? It's not really the highest percentages. All right, Thijs coming on. He draws... Oh, looks like he drew into the BGH. That's not going to be helpful. Oh, no, he drew the Force of Nature. Excuse me.
He's having to do so much work to just clear the board down, though.
And that's what he's got to do. But he also can play the Sen'jin and follow it.
Yeah, I was about to say, he wants to kill the spiders here to play around Hunter's Mark. It's a lot less valuable if Hunter's Mark is the card he has with a 4/3 than if he has 2 1/1s.
Oh, Darkwonyx has Leroy, so all he has to do is get his opponent to 11, keep a weapon charge. And in that respect... Oh, but he doesn't have a beast.
He's only got 11 points of damage.
Yeah, if he had a beast, that kill command would have been
Sorry,
ridiculous.
he's got 12 points of damage. He can kill command the 3/5, attack it with his bow, 4 to the face, and then Leroy. But that's only 12.
So in this respect, do you double trap ping and then kind of pass? Do you double trap or do you just go for this kind of play?
Whoa!
With Darkwonyx? All right, I like some creative thinking.
And he's gonna play both traps. Wow.
Yep.
And he's got kill command back up. I think that's gonna do it.
Yeah.
Tice needs a draw heal here.
He needs to draw into an Ancient of Lore or something crazy like an Alex Straza. Oh, what's it gonna be? Oh, an Innervate. He still can get it with the Wild Growth. He still has a Wild Growth. He still has a Wild Growth. He needs to kind of figure it out first. All his options. He also wants to test if this is Freezing Trap, which one of them most certainly is. But one of them might be misdirection explosives, so you have to be really cautious. First Wild Growth and figure out what you're dealing with. Watch, it's like Snake Trap, and he's like, oh, what is this? A Snake Trap finish. Okay.
Wow. I don't know if there's anything he can draw.
Needs this Ancient of Lore.
He's got to draw Ancient Lore.
He's needed. And even if he gets like a second Wild Growth, he still has a chance. Oh, the Ancient of Lore comes!
Oh my gosh! I cannot believe it.
Oh my sweet lord.
That is like the only card he could have drawn to live at this point. That is unreal.
Oh my god. Wait, so can Darkwonyx do this?
He's thinking about innovating this hero power as well.
If he did, he should have innervated, attacked first, and then played the Ancient of Lore. And that sequence he might have betrayed him in that respect.
He played really quickly because he drew.
Yeah, I mean, you're really excited to get the exact card he needs. And I think he realized that he kind of missed time or misplayed here a little bit, just minorly. But he's going to just use it to gain life anyways. Increase his chances. He still has Ascension and Sunwalker. By all means, this game is still going. Oh, a deadly shot.
Oh my gosh.
Babe, it's still really tight. Darkwonyx is just going to slowly whittle him down. And if he draws a beast, he'll have 7 damage. So if he can find a way to kind of coop things together, he still has a shot to win this game.
He's got a taunt up.
Yeah, Tice has got a taunt up here. I can't imagine anything but like. But you got a taunt up, and don't you feel like you have to keep hero powering to extend your life?
I think so. You have to keep hero powering. Oh, you attack.
Do you attack first?
I don't know.
I don't think you attack. Because the attack puts you within range ahead of time versus he might need 2 turns to do it otherwise.
Just wait and hope you get a Savage Roar and kill them all at once.
Right. You load up the board. You find a way that you can go through it. Tice, this is coming out really close the more I think about it.
Yep.
Oh, man. Now, imagine if Tice draws like second of Ancient of Lore after this turn because he's not going to die right now. There's no way he could.
Well, that's what he's going to need. He needs a second Ancient Lore here.
He needs second Ancient of Lore.
It's tough to stave off 2 points of damage a turn. For free. Yep.
Darkwonyx, what's he going to top deck? He has Kill Command. It's been locked and loaded for turns now. Animal Companion. That gives him the ability to activate the 5 damage.
He just waits. No reason to use it this turn.
Sure. I mean, it's not getting through that taunt either way, and it's just going to be sitting duck.
Oh my gosh.
Tice, what's it going to be? Is it going to be another Ancient of Lore?
It's not. He still can't attack.
But he also still can just wait, and it's not going to be this. It's still 7 damage. So what he needs to do is just a hero power and then wait.
Oh no! He's going to deal 2 to the face and then Karen and hope to draw Savage Roar. Wait, no, it's
he's gonna be really smart. He's gonna hero power.
I like it.
Great read once again from Tice, playing around everything. Admirable. This could be it.
Darkwonyx has to draw a single point of damage to end it.
Oh, tracking. But does he have enough mana to do everything? Does he have like an Arcane Shot?
Oh my gosh, none of these cards. Wait, the Hunter's Mark can prevent him from getting.
The Hunter's Mark will reduce the damage. Right, the Hunter's Mark because he has Explosive Trap. Whoa, wait. If he senses his opponent has Savage Roar, does he just go straight for the face and then hope the explosive trap prevents him from being able to win the game?
Oh my god, I think that's what you do.
Because if he has Savage Roar, then you have to line up so that the opponent kills himself with it.
Yeah, that's like the only way you can lose if your opponent has Savage Roars.
Oh my god, that's crazy.
That's what he's gonna do!
Oh, he's going for it. He's putting me at 1. He's saying you have to heal up. Oh no, you can't 100 mark the face, buddy. I tried that so many times when I first started playing Hearthstone.
Tice has to draw Ancient of Lore
This
here.
is where it comes down to, Admirable. This last draw, Tice needs this Ancient of Lore, some kind of healing.
That's not gonna do it. Wow, and Darkwonyx is gonna take a crazy 5-game set down to the wire, every single point of damage mattering at every step of the way. And that is checkmate.
That is a beautiful way to end the series because Darkwonyx, he did everything. I'm so impressed with how he's able to handle this series. You know, Tice has been able to survive as well. Like, really, bravo to both players. But it's a shame that only one of them had to win because Tice realizes what this is. This is game over. He can no longer win, and Darkwonyx will move on to the winners bracket finals.
Unbelievable set from these two players.
That is some damn good Hearthstone, Admirable, let me tell you.
It is very rare that you get a chance to see both players